the healer. They called him Finn, not because it was his name, but because no one had asked. He had arrived at Halden's watch with the mercenary convoy, wedged between two fighters who argued about a card game for 3 days straight. He carried a satchel over his left shoulder, heavier than it looked, and he kept one hand on its strap even when he ate. Old habit. He had lost a bag like it once, in a village whose name he no longer said aloud. Captain Merrow looked him over for 3 seconds.
Healer?
Yes.
Stay behind the wall. Keep people alive.
Finn nodded and moved to the rear. He heard what the mercenaries said as he passed.
He looks like he'd lose a fight with a broom.
He adjusted the strap and kept walking. He was not, in fact, a fighter. He was not fast or strong or composed in any way that made commanders feel confident. But he could see pressure, not with any name he had found in a book. Just when he watched a man favor his left side, he knew where the next blow would land before the attacker did. When a wall took weight unevenly, he saw which stone would give first. He had no word for it. He had spent most of his life not mentioning it at all. The horns sounded before dawn. The Varkhul hit the outer gate like a tide made of bone and iron. The defenders held the first charge, they held the second. By the third, 2 of the mages were dead, and the east wall had begun to crack along a seam Finn had noticed 12 hours ago and had not known who to tell. He should have told someone. He moved along the rear line and did the thing he could not name. He adjusted a soldier's grip on his spear with 2 fingers. He murmured,
2 steps left.
To a man who obeyed without knowing why. He watched the battlefield the way someone reads a map full of errors, correcting as he went. He was not fast enough. The east wall fell at midday. He heard it before he saw it. The grinding collapse. The shout cut short. He turned, and half the rear line was gone. Varkhul poured through the gap, and what had been a defense became a rout in under a minute. Men he had kept alive through the morning were down. The arcanists were down. Captain Merrow was on one knee, blood running from somewhere above his ear, not getting up. Finn stood alone in the wreckage of the rear position. A Varkhul warrior saw him. Just him. Thin, still, one hand on a satchel strap, nothing in his hands that could hurt anyone. It levelled its spear and charged. Finn watched it come. He was terrified. That is worth saying plainly. His hands had been shaking for an hour, and they were shaking now. He had no weapon. He had no magic. He had spent the last 4 hours watching people die, despite everything he did, and the thing coming toward him was going to end this in seconds. He watched its feet, left foot heavy, right foot slightly behind, lean forward on the strike, which meant the spear would arrive an inch high and angled right. 1 step left, just 1. The spear missed him by less than the width of a hand. The warrior's momentum carried it forward, and it hit the stone ground hard, chest first, spear skittering away. Finn was already moving. He did not know what he was doing, not in any planned sense. He was just reading it. The next warrior angling right, so he stepped left, and the fighter beside him, gasping, found an opening he had not made himself. A Varkhul, lunging for the gap, stumbled where Finn had already shifted the angle of the line, a correction so small it had no name, only consequence. It was not strength. It was not bravery, not the way people meant it. It was just that he kept seeing where things were about to go wrong, and he kept placing himself in the way. He did not know when he went to his knees. At some point, the stone was under his hands, and the shouting had changed pitch. He lifted his head. Retreat horns. Varkhul horns. He looked at the breach, still open in the wall, at the bodies, at the broken gate. The fortress was half ruined, and the ground was the colour of old copper. Someone helped him up. He did not know who. He sat against a section of fallen wall, satchel in his lap, one hand on the strap. He did not look up when the cheering started somewhere distant. He was very tired. His hands would not stop shaking. After a while, Captain Merrow sat down beside him. Slow, careful, head still bleeding.
What did you do out there?
Finn thought about it for a moment.
I paid attention.
He said. Then he closed his tired eyes and did not move for a very long time. This has been a chapter from the Negsbane Iron series. Follow at Negsbane for more.